You're watching and listening to Wood and Erek. The show begins now.
Good morning, Erek.
Good evening. Well, actually, no, good afternoon, Wood. How are you?
Pretty good, actually. Yeah, we're earlier today, thankfully.
What is this?
What is what? Being early?
Yes. This time of day, it's weird.
So I have to do something tonight, and I asked these two fellas if they wouldn't mind pushing it a little early, but I kind of like this time slot. You know, I've had I
think it's great.
Had my dinner, my early dinner, like an old man at 5 o'clock. I'm here ready to hang out and talk about everything. We have a lot to talk about. You know what else?
I'm just getting into my breakfast here, so by all means, you go ahead.
What time is it for you?
9:29 a.m. Monday morning.
I don't know if I've seen 9:29 a.m. in a very long time.
Look, put it this way. You're not missing anything, all right?
I don't like waking up before the sun comes up, but it would be nice to wake up at 10 at some point and see the sunrise.
It's worthwhile. I pretty much do it every morning now. Well, the clocks have changed, so that at least in Victoria, Australia, we've moved an hour ahead, so spring ahead, while you guys fall behind on the opposite time zone.
That's about when the sun comes up, right? 10 o'clock?
9,
10?
I think it's up at about 6.
6?
Usually now. Yeah, something like that, close to 6.
Has anyone even seen it to confirm? Who's awake at 6?
I'm up at 5. I'm up at 5 a.m.
It's brutal.
Every day.
You know who else is always up at 5 a.m.?
The value viewer voicemail.
Yeah.
And the producer.
Hey guys, new listener / viewer / whatever consumer here. Just was listening to you guys at work, and you made the last hour and a half or so. Actually, I think it was 2 hours fly by, and I just wanted to say I really appreciated that. I hope you boys have a good day, and I look forward to seeing at least one of you at Too Many Games in a couple weeks.
Hey!
So yeah, see you then. Have a good one, guys.
That would be me.
I don't know if I introduced myself. I'm Mike. Thanks, boys. Appreciate y'all. Take it easy.
Is that your full name, Mike? That was a great voicemail. Thank you.
Batman villain, Mike. Mike, I can't wait to see ya. Very exciting. Yeah, I'm at Too Many Games in Philly this weekend. You made me choke on my water, Mike. When I took a sip.
Consumer.
I took a sip right as he was like, whatever. And I was like,
hey, are you hearing something in the background? I'm hearing like a weird, gnarly thing. Is it the producer? What's happening in the producers?
Well, it's my tiger.
Your tiger?
I mean, not my
now?
tiger. It is actually just a tiger, but
A tiger, yeah. What's your tiger's name?
Ace.
Is that for when the kids at karate get out of line, you sick the tiger on him?
No, I mean they tamed him. They brought him in lately, and I was just trying to keep it. Really, I shouldn't. Yeah, tame is the word. They're not domesticated, but he's all right.
It's just Tiger King over here. Are you?
No. He's not my tiger. We're. Okay. I do not own him. We're just cohabitating.
You're not producing from a jail cell somewhere in Georgia right now. Florida.
No.
Where is the Tiger King?
I don't know. I've never watched it.
You've never watched it?
No,
me neither.
It's amazing. You've really never seen it? You're laughing like it's preposterous that you would have seen it, but it is really good.
Look, I'd be lying if I said I've watched The Tiger King.
You need to give it a watch. It's one of the best things I've seen, let alone one of the best things on Netflix. Actually,
there's a lot on Netflix right now.
I was going to say, speaking of, I finished Squid Game yesterday with Kim. You guys, anyone watched that yet?
No, I have not watched it yet. No.
What is it called?
Squid Game.
Never heard of it.
Producer, I feel like you'd like it from the little I know about you. I love it. I think it is probably next to Breaking Bad, if not better than Breaking Bad, for the greatest TV show I've ever seen.
Really?
Wow.
What's it about? Tell me a little bit about it here.
So it is tough to talk about it too much without spoiler territory, but the premise is in the trailer. It's a Korean show. It's out of Korea, so you have to watch with subtitles. There is dubbed English, but if you watch it like that, I'll never talk to you again because that's disgusting. The acting is so incredible that dubbing it in English does not do it justice. I mean, there's a lot of like crying and death, and if you're trying to watch people dub over that, it just doesn't hit right at all. Not when the acting is as good as it is.
Oh, yeah.
So Squid Game sets itself up in the first episode. I'm not going to give any spoilers. I love this show though, so I really want to talk about it quickly. It sets itself up as it's set in Korea, and it tells this story of this old game they used to play way back in the day, a kids game called Squid Game, where there's like a pattern on the ground. It was like a square and a triangle, and it like kind of looked like a squid at the top. And some of the team had to stand up top as attackers, and some had to stand at the back as defenders, and you kind of had to push each other out. But the rule of the game where the losers died. Obviously, it's just a kid game, so the kids don't really die, but they died, you know?
Yeah,
and then it fast forwards to like current day, and there's focuses on this main character specifically, but a bunch of people who are in insane amounts of debt in Korea, and they get offered this opportunity to go and play a game, and they get taken to this facility, which is like on an island somewhere where no one knows about it or even how you get there, and they have to start playing these games. And it's in the trailer and it's obvious and you kind of know where I'm going with it. So I'm hoping it's not a spoiler, but if you lose, you die. And they don't realize that until they're there. And then it kind of becomes this 9-episode saga of a battle royale where everyone is fighting to survive by playing these kids games. Like the first one, which has become a big meme, and if you haven't seen it online, is a red light, green light, where there's this creepy animatronic doll that turns around and it's like red light, green light, and then it turns around, and if it sees you move, you just drop dead on the spot. Like the whole show is terrifying, and episode 6 is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to watch in my life that wasn't real. Like knowing that it's fiction and fake, it was the hardest thing.
And you watched all The Walking Dead. And that looked like that would be too hard for me to watch.
Walking Dead is very campy, comic booky. Like you don't really get invested in the same way, like at all. Like these characters felt real. The acting was so superb. They had these in-depth stories. You were connected to them and their struggles. Like a lot of them were good people, a lot of them were bad people, but you even liked the bad people in a way. And so seeing any of them die was heart-wrenching. And yeah, episode 6, like Kim and I were on a binge watch, but after episode 6, we had to just take a break. We were done. We were like finding like cute animals to look at on Reddit. We were like, we need to purge ourselves because it was
some eye bleach. Yeah.
It was the hardest thing I've ever had to watch.
It's, Breaking Bad, after episode 1 and 2, like a similar concept, it sets up what the show is about.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is like, oh my gosh, like
you will be hooked after episode 1 of Squid Game. Like it's
interesting.
There isn't a lull. There isn't a point where you're like, can we get back to it? Like the whole 9 episodes, an hour long each episode, every minute is must watch, on the edge of your seat, invested. Like there isn't a second that goes by where you're like, can we get back to something? Like everything is the something. It's so insanely good.
I look forward to trying it. I mean, I've got a small window of time to try it. I've just canceled Netflix the other day. I've been paying
Get back, my guy. I don't blame you because Netflix has sucked for a long time, but this is like, it's coming back.
Yeah. Okay. That's very good to know.
Did either of you watch Train to Busan or whatever?
No.
It's a Korean movie. And that is also incredible, an incredible movie. It's a zombie movie, but like, it's like the best zombie movie you'll see. Like it's actually stellar.
Have you seen Old Boy?
That is it's been on my list of things to watch because I know it's incredible, but it's such a daunting because I know what happens and the premise.
Oh.
So I'm like, I don't know if I want to, but I've heard. So essentially people that are ranting about Squid Game, it's like first Old Boy, then Train to Busan, and now Squid Game. Like what is happening with this Korean media that is so incredible? It seems like Korea is producing some of the best stuff right now.
Plus K-pop and all that taken off too, sure.
Korean stuff has always been good though. Like my mother's, she switched from watching like normal dramas and stuff to watching Korean dramas for years and years, and she's always raved about it. So I'm not surprised that all of a sudden there's something that's kind of been picked up by Netflix, and now it's set to be, I read the other day, is like the most streamed or watched show on Netflix of all time.
It's got 96% on Rotten Tomatoes for the whole season.
Whoa.
And I'm like
insane.
there. I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you're not going to give it 100, anywhere in the top, like that 5% is, I agree. That I didn't hate a single minute of it. I didn't dislike any of it. The whole thing was like, holy crap. It's like an anime come to life almost in a way too.
That's really interesting. I honestly, I'm pretty keen to give it a shot. I mean, I don't watch much shows or watch many shows these days, but I mean, if somebody's going to rave about it, as much as you have, like for example, 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, that's
that's the thing too. Because my friend, I was telling him about it yesterday because he hadn't seen it. We were playing Halo, and I just told him everything I told you guys, and he's like, "Wow, you've really built it up now." But I'll watch it, and I'm like, "Trust me, you can't build it up enough. Like, it will not disappoint. There's no way it will disappoint." And he went away not having seen it, and I messaged him this morning like, "Did you watch it?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was good." And I was like, "Where are you up to?" And he's like, "Oh, I finished it." Like all 9 hours. I was like, "Yeah, I told you, right?" Like, I was impressed. What impressed me was he got through episode 6 without a break. I was like, God, you're a better man than I.
Oh my God. Well, hey, the episode 6 of Squid Game, I'll have to hang out and stay tuned all the way through. I'm interested. I'm interested now.
You'll love it.
I wasn't really
You'll
interested
love
before,
it. I mean, it's gruesome. It's intense. But if you like that kind of stuff, I mean,
personally, I just thought everybody was talking about Splatoon for some reason, like Squid Game.
Yeah, that was like
my first thought too.
Big trending thing on Twitter was Splatoon 3 and then Squid Game underneath it.
That's funny.
That's funny. Sorry, I was going to bring that up maybe later in the show, but I'm very passionate about it. I would love to give our listeners and you guys like a few weeks to watch all of it and then do a spoiler episode where we break down the show, because I have so much to say about that show.
I'm down with that.
Let's set homework then for both of you,
like a book club.
Yeah, and for the listeners. Now, again, if you're a kid, don't play along.
If you're a kid now, you're a squid now.
If you're a kid now, you're not a squid now. You can't play the Squid Game. But if you're of age that can watch this kind of R-rated stuff, watch through it, and then we'll give you a few weeks, and then we'll touch base and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I ranted more than I wanted at the start of the show because I even said to you that I wanted to focus on you for the start of this, and here's why. I have an apology.
Yes. Okay.
It's more of like an acceptance of a thing that happened more than an apology. But the last 2 episodes we had a guest on, which was a blast, and both episodes did really well.
I loved it.
Yeah, I think our listeners really loved it, and the last 2 episodes had the most views out of all of our podcasts so far. So getting the guests on obviously it works. But I wanted today to not have a guest, even though I had one that could have come on, and I wanted to be just you and me, because when I have guests on, they're guests that I know, that I've been friends with for a while.
Sure.
They know me. They don't really know you that well at all.
Yes, yeah.
So when we had both of them on, especially with Spawn, it very much became the wooden Spawn and the wooden Bob. And I think it just had to fall that way because they felt comfortable bouncing off me and we were having the conversations. But last episode, especially, I felt terrible because we got to the end of the ep and I was like, Erek hasn't talked about anything. Like, I didn't even ask you about the new room until the end. It was like an afterthought. And after the ep finished, it was a good ep with Spawn, but I felt terrible. So more than ever, I'm shutting up. I'm shutting up.
It's fine. I enjoyed having the guests. I really vibed with Bob, and I've got a lot of great feedback, even from people who watch my streams. They come in and say, "Hey, you should get Bob back." That was really great. Spawnwave was really good as well. He provided a different insight. It's just cool to talk with different people in the community, if that's what you want to call it, and just see how they sit with us and vibe with us. Obviously, it's going to be different when you know somebody, for example. And it'd be the same way if I brought in somebody that I know. So, I mean, I think having guests is a really great idea. And what we've come down to is bringing in other YouTubers or Twitch streamers and kind of breaking them down and just kind of figuring out what they do in their daily lives and figuring out what makes them kind of maybe even normalize them, I guess.
Yeah.
To a certain point, you know what I mean? Because Yeah, I think that this podcast is normalizing wood from beat 'em ups, because I mean it's just you hanging out with us and the chat. You know what I mean? That's all that is. So I wouldn't stress about it at all. I've enjoyed the last 2 episodes, honestly. So it's fine. Don't worry.
But yeah, we did talk about that. We thought, like, when we have guests on, do we want to grill them on what they do on YouTube and like talk to them about current events, or do we want to do what other podcasts maybe don't give them an opportunity to do, and that's just talk about themselves and maybe not the stuff that they do online every day? So that is something we want to do moving forward with our guests. I think we just by default did it with Bob.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. But then Spawn, we just were like, what do you think of the direct? Which was also good, but
it was timed.
It also didn't give him a chance for us to get to know him. So maybe we'll get him back on at some point and harass him for more than just steroids.
Yeah.
It's so funny though. I love. Well, you made a jingle for Spawnwave, and I did one for Bob Wolf. I really enjoyed like coming up with something spur of the moment, specifically for, well, for example, for Bob anyway. Bob's big being the coffee joke. So seeing who we get on in future is good, just to explore a different avenue of the show. And
I think Bob really liked his jingle and really he really got into the whole Wolf Den Deli thing. He was, after the show, he was like, that was great. I don't know how much Spawn got into the steroid thing. I don't know if he loved it.
the reaction on his face, he was just like,
a lot of it was like, I don't think he's not doing steroids, and I have never done steroids. And I was like, okay, all right, buddy. I don't know how much you love that, but yeah, I want to give you the floor to talk about your week and anything you want to bring to the show.
I mean, well, look, I've just been doing my same old. I had a very busy day yesterday. I did 4 loads in one day. I mean, like that's an incredible.
Wow, feat. That is yeah. Good thing you.
I mean, yeah. So the laundry system
the laundry. Okay, yeah, great. The laundry. You saw my brain ticking. I'm like, how do I get away with this in a PG way? And I just couldn't do it.
I baited you. No, I just honestly been busy doing housework.
I was like, you might have baited yourself.
My son's, he's almost 2. He'll be 2 in February, but I think he's hitting the terrible 2s early. So there's a lot of.
Where is your kid after all?
Where is he?
No, he is your kid after all.
Sorry. Yeah,
hitting the terrible 2s a little early ain't no surprise.
My God, yeah, I know. Early riser. So anyway, yeah, it's just been a lot of tantrums and stuff, sleepless nights. Like we had the clocks change.
Right.
Have we said that on air? I don't know. I don't remember.
I think you did.
Yeah, we have. So we skipped an hour of sleep, but he went to bed at 5 p.m. yesterday.
Oh.
So he was like wide awake at 11.
Oh,
for
great.
Like 2.5 hours. My God, I was so tired. So no sleep. Aside from that, man, I'm just plugging away, working on our stuff, doing more consistent YouTube stuff for me, introducing other video series as well. So, man, I'm as busy as ever, and trying to play games in the meantime. And an exciting thing too, I just sent off my first contract for a possible recording gig for the first time in
sweet.
Almost a year.
Congrats.
So trying to get back to normal a little bit. so we'll see. So man, I'm just a busy guy. Honestly, that's all there is to it, man. Speaking of you sending things off, I just want to make a public service announcement and let everyone know that those certificates have not arrived yet. What's that been like? 2 months now? You sent out those certificates? Yes. If you're new to the show, when we first started the show, we started playing games with people. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be doing that today. If you want a chance to call into the show, we're going to be taking calls later in the show. We are live right now for those listening after the fact on YouTube or the audio versions. But that won't ruin your fun if you're listening after, because you'll still hear it. But people will have a chance to call in if you're watching live, and we're going to play randomly generated with you guys. Where you guys call in with a subject, a podcast topic for us, and we will talk about it with you until we get bored, and then we'll move on to the next person. Anyway, but at the start of our podcast, way back when, we started playing games. People would call in, and we would give away certificates for people that won, and we had to stop doing that because we gave away so many without having them. Erek got them made and sent them out like 2 months ago, and I don't know if they're going to arrive at this point. It's been a long time. it was interesting because it was classed as a letter, even though it was kind of like in a bubble wrap kind of envelope mailer thing. I couldn't get tracking on it because it was classed as a letter, and she didn't give me an estimated time of arrival. So I have no idea where they are. There's 20 certificates with my signature on them, lost maybe somewhere on a shipping container in the middle of the ocean, which I think is, honestly, I think it's really funny.
It is fitting. It does sound about right.
I finally get them made, and I finally send them to you, and they actually never show up.
I would love to edit this in post and have a clip of like a barge just out there in the middle of the ocean and just like see a shipping crate.
It was actually stuck on the ship that was the cargo liner or whatever that was stuck somewhere in the world.
We hear about it. We hear about it on the news, like cargo ship overturned across the Pacific Ocean. Oil was not spilt. However, many certificates from Wood and Erek poured out all over the ocean floor.
No, but I mean, like mail is really slow. There's a lot of container ships stuck somewhere in the West Coast port right now, waiting for.
I waited like 3 months for them to ship all my stuff over when I moved that time. Remember, I was waiting forever for that, and half my stuff didn't show up. So I'm expecting to get 10 certificates.
Don't use pack and send.
Don't use pack and send. Although I had to retract that. I felt bad because apparently pack and send Bendigo, who I called out in the video, let me know that at some point it hit a checking station and they had stacked them heaviest to lightest when they sent them, but the packing station went through them all from the top and then restacked them in the other order. So the heaviest ended up on top. And that's how everything on the bottom got crushed. And I lost half my stuff across the great Pacific Ocean. It is Pacific, right? In between us?
Don't be specific about it. It's fine.
Depends which way you go, I guess, huh?
Well, the way you would go, which is typically, if you're leaving Australia, you go right. If you're leaving America, you go left.
You go...
or east and west, as some people like to call it in a nautical sense.
Not to be technical, but it's right or left.
Not to be technical, but port side or starboard.
Okay, so I mentioned that I did 4 loads yesterday. So I wanted to talk about minor annoyances in my life, or maybe your life or the producer's life. So I thought of one thing that just drives me nuts for no reason. And I'll tell you mine, and maybe you can tell me yours. Mm-hmm. There's one thing that drives me nuts, and it's the fact that I have an automatic garage door. Mm-hmm. When I press the button for the garage door to open, it only opens like 10% of the way every single time.
Why?
I don't know. But it drives me nuts. It's not enough for me to be like, oh man, I need to get to the bottom of this. It's like every time I go to open the garage door, it's like an extra 30 seconds spent actually trying to get it to happen. So I wanted to ask you guys on the show, is there anything that happens in your daily life that is so insignificant, but it's incredibly annoying nonetheless?
You've hit me out of nowhere. And
I know I have.
I will say, this isn't something that happens on a day-to-day, but I did have a funny situation happen a couple of days ago. And I'm going to derail yours and talk about my main minor annoyance that happened that day.
Please.
My neck is really sore right now. I guess that's a minor annoyance because I often sleep weird because, all right, here it is. Here's my minor annoyance. My cats sleep on the bed, and we love that. It's a vibe, and we think it's really cute that when Kim and I go to bed, they literally both come to bed with us like every time, and they'll just get right on the bed, and they will sleep on the bed. Logan usually sleeps next to Kim's head on the right, away from me, but Simon sometimes will decide whether or not he wants to sleep on his tree or in between us. And when he sleeps in between us, I kind of have to like sleep at a weird angle so that I don't disturb the cats, because God forbid the cat doesn't get a good night's sleep. And the other night I did that and I woke up in that position still and my neck was just like wrenched from it. So I've had this really sore neck for the last like 2 or 3 days. I can't get rid of it. Like I was out working out today and I sit like away from the garage door, which does open 100% of the way every time, thankfully.
Lucky.
And I heard someone banging out behind me and I got scared. I was like, is someone trying to get into my garage? And I like whipped my head around and I was like, oh, I can't do that.
Oh.
So last night or the night before last, I asked Kim if she could put on some of that hot stuff, that icy hot, that cream that gets really hot.
Okay.
Whatever. It's called deep heat in Australia, and
deep heat.
I prefer it in Australia. But I had that stuff all over my neck and my shoulder. but she didn't quite rub it in all the way. So I was like, I'll just finish it up. And I just like rubbed it a little bit. Yeah, and I'm lying there in bed. And then I was like, well, I got to go pee. So I went and peed. And then I came back and I got back into bed. And I realized something was amiss. And very quickly, I felt a burning sensation somewhere you do not wish to feel a burning sensation.
Oh, no.
And it started as an annoyance. And I was like shuffling and moving around. And Kim was like, you all right? I'm like, I'm good. Thinking it would go away. But then it started getting really bad.
Really hot.
Like really bad. Because when you put it somewhere like your neck, it's fine. But imagine rubbing it somewhere like your eyes or somewhere really, sensitive. Mm-hmm. It burns, dude.
Oh man, it's so bad. Honestly, even saying that it burns is literally just the tip of it. I mean, you can go into
it was some of the worst pain. Like I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. I was hovering over the sink, trying to fix it. And in the end, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I jumped in the shower and I must be nice. I know this is a very must be nice situation. The shower we have is fancy. We have 2 shower heads, one on either side.
An Amazon rainwater shower.
No, we don't have that. I wish we had that. So on the one behind me, I cranked it all the way hot. And the one in front, I cranked it all the way icy cold. Because that way, because I wanted the front part to be really cold for reasons, but I didn't want to be freezing myself. So I had the heat warming me up. It was like regulating my body. And I had to stand there for like 15 minutes before the pain finally subsided. And I got to continue on with my life. But that was
had
like...
to take an icy hot shower after.
I had to take an icy hot shower after applying icy hot to the wrong place to apply icy hot.
Wow.
So my tip is after applying icy hot to your neck or back or wherever you have issues, wash your hands thoroughly.
Gee. Well, it sounds like you got shafted there. Well, hey, producer, how about you? Is there any minor annoyances that you would... I mean, there's nothing comparable to what...
Yeah, that's a bit of a tough act to follow. So I'll just own it and say that my very, very minor annoyance is just really... This is really not even worth bringing up. But since you asked, the word tremendous just immensely gets on my nerves. I don't know why. It gets in my words. It gets in my nerves. The word tremendous. Tremendously does, in fact.
How do you feel about when people say literally to everything?
Literally, I mean, gosh, language is funny, isn't it? Because literally could literally mean anything or could mean literally nothing, depending on how you use it.
But tremendous is where you draw the line. Tremendous
is such a asinine word. I hate it.
What's wrong with it? It's just another word of saying like great or huge, right? Or exciting. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like stupendous. I don't know why. I like the word stupendous, but it's like tremendous. I don't know.
I had a tremendous pain on my from putting icy hot on.
That would be a correct state. That would be a literal correct statement.
Literally.
I worked at Dunkin' Donuts for like 3 months after high school, and they made us use these buzzwords. So, for example, when somebody would come in and say, "Oh, how are you going?" and I would, casually, I would be like, "Oh, good, thank you. How are you?"
Tremendous.
No, we would have to say either one of 4 words. It was super, outstanding, fantastic, or terrific.
Wow.
Who says that? Like nobody is like, "Oh man, I'm super today," or like, "Oh, I'm having a terrific day,"
but not tremendous.
Man, I'm outstanding, or tremendous rather.
You know what word I have in the only word I hate using. No, I don't really notice when other people use it, but I try really hard not to use it, and it's because of something my 5th grade teacher said, and that's the word got.
Got.
He was in my English. He was an English teacher, but he taught me in 5th grade, and he said he loathed and hated the word got. He said it was a disgusting word that sounded like a slur, but other than that, it's a word that can be literally replaced by any other word in a sentence to be more correct. So if you
had or has
anything, literally. So if he's
got a point.
He has a point, or he had a point.
That's so true. I've never thought of that.
And you can do it with anything, any sentence that has got. Like I got a new car. I bought a new car. Like it's almost like be more specific because got doesn't tell you anything in that situation. Like how'd you get it? And then you have to elaborate. But if you say I bought a new car, I found a new car, I have a new car.
Well, the thing though is specificity is not always preferable. Sometimes you want to have a passive voice. The car was got, and you don't want to specify how it was gotten.
The car was
when you were a writer. Yeah, you could say that if you wanted to use a, needlessly complicated word. Got works just fine.
It's less that word's needlessly complicated than got is just way too disgustingly simplified. And I feel like I have his hatred for the word just because I was taught it at a young age. But yeah, whenever I'm like typing something and I accidentally type got, I backspace 3 and then I'm like, what word can I actually use that doesn't sound like I don't understand basic English?
Dude, that reminds me. I cannot stand when people say like I've got to do this. People say got to. I've got to do this. I've got to go. Like I say gotta. You know what I mean? That's just my kind of slang.
I have to
hate
do this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
People say gadu or gunu.
Gonu?
It's such a.
Yep, that's one.
That's bad. I hate it.
That is tremendously wrong.
How about finna? Fixina?
I've one last quick point here before we move on. My 8th grade teacher always said never to use the C word in class. And she was like, the C word is crap. I'm like,
that word's not that bad.
Surely. I mean, the proper C word is, an Australian delicacy. Crap.
Yeah. I use it all the time off air.
Oh, God. I say it all the time.
Do you think you get the pass because you're in Australia?
I'm a permanent resident now, man. I say whatever I want.
Does that come on the residency card? You now have permission to use the following word.
Yeah, I have the card.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad that button works. You're using it very tremendously today, I must say.
I am. And
I'm so glad he got to use it.
It was also a tourism campaign for the Northern Territory at some point. It was CU in the NT.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, honestly. So you would see CU in the NT on a shirt, and it's obviously trying to get tourism for people to come to the Northern Territory. And I thought it was the best, like the most Australian.
That is very funny. Another commercial we had running for a long time. I can't remember what it was for. Maybe like paper towels or something mundane. But essentially it was, and I don't know if I can say it, but it's another very Australian word, BUGGER.
Oh, yeah.
Very Australian word, and it used to be very liberally used, and it was okay to use it. And there was a bunch of commercials where like they would spill something, and then they'd say it, and it became synonymous with whatever the product was essentially. But then it got to a point they were like, we can't say that anymore on TV, and they stopped running the ads. The last one I remember actually is a dog did something stupid, and they had the dog's mouth move, and he said, "Oh." I think he was like chasing a mailman or something, and he couldn't get it. He was like, "Oh."
You remind me, back in Seattle, we actually also had a similar sort of ad campaign going on for the South Lake Union Transit. And, it'd be something everybody goes to ride the SLUT, and everybody gets a ride.
That's pretty.
It's like the town bike. The town bike, man. Everybody has a ride.
That's a lot. I can see why that was stopped.
Yeah. The South Lake Union Transit.
That's a very M-rated episode we've got going here.
I live for this stuff. Anyway.
Let's move on to something a little more on brand, but that was a blast. I had a fun.
Oh, for sure.
I wanted to talk about the OLED.
Now, this is what okay. I don't understand how you got this thing.
Yeah.
I want to know, because it seems like, I don't know whether you got it early by buying it or...
I said how I got it in the
how
video.
Did you attain it?
He got it.
I said how I got it.
He said how he got it?
I said how I got it.
How you got it?
How I acquired it.
Uh-huh. Is that so?
Okay, when I'm typing, I might always not use got, but I'm sure I say it a lot in life. I need to put that on the record now, because now I'm going to get comments of timestamps of every time I say got.
You're going to get a super
cut. Uploaded.
So you did you or did you not pre-order it at GameStop? Surely you got it.
I did. Okay, so the long story short on this, I'll tell you how that one arrived. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell the whole truth, because the whole truth is very convoluted. and it just wasn't. It was pointless in the video. It was more of like a misdirection, but at the same time, it was the truth.
Sure.
But I wanted to say the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I've seen a lot of people tweeting at me and tweeting in general and tagging me in tweets and talking about it, comment section of all these YouTubers saying they were sent the console early. Isn't it suspicious how it's only YouTubers getting it? And there was this big conspiracy thread on like, clearly they did something or there's something they're not saying. Which I want to say first up, and we'll get to it, but it's not true. It's not just YouTubers. The console's leaked in California. Like that's something that's very obvious. And that's why Kevin Kenson was first, because I don't know what happened over there. He doesn't know. We've talked about it. Maybe I should bring him on to talk about it, but too late by then. But we've came up with theories where essentially the shipments for the OLED hit California first, because just like our earlier conversation, they come from the left, over in Japan. So they hit California first and they go out to the distributors. But there are a lot of mom and pop stores that don't go through distributors, so the stock ends up going straight to them. So our theory is they bypassed the distributors, it went straight to mom and pop stores, and they had a much easier time breaking the street date and selling them online. And if you go right now and look online, people, and they're all in California, are selling them for stupid amounts of money. And Kevin, I'm pretty sure he said this, but he just so happened to find one because they're out there, and he just bought one early. He got very lucky. And if you go on Twitter even and you sort by like Nintendo OLED, Switch, or whatever, you can find normal people that aren't YouTubers posting about finding them early. And you'd go do it. I mean, there's pictures. People are like, look what came early. Look what I found, blah, blah, blah. Like you can go and find one right now in California. I don't know where else. I don't know if they've leaked anywhere else, but they're all over. And people in Cali have just gone out, found one at a mom and pop store and bought one. So it's not true that only YouTubers are getting them. It's just you've only heard of YouTubers get them because no one's paying attention to Joe Schmo with 2 followers on Twitter posting about it. And rather my video has 300,000 views because it's my video and I got the dang thing early, and that's exciting.
Yeah, I don't think you should be chastised for that at all. I mean, like, I mean, for listeners, I mean, don't take me wrong. It was certainly tongue in cheek. I think it's great that you got
tongue in cheek me for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because here's the thing, I was kind of lying.
I think it's good that you're able to capitalize on it early. Obviously, as somebody who does content creation, and the whole angle of your YouTube channel is all the Nintendo and Nintendo Switch related stuff. It's like a dream come true getting a console that's hyped early. So it's like it makes sense. But when Kevin Kenson, we talked about this last week, but when Kevin Kenson got it, I was like, oh my God.
Well, that's the thing. When he got it, I was like, how have you done that? But here's where I just didn't tell the whole truth because it was convoluted. I had ordered one already through GameStop, but I couldn't get the white one. So I ordered a white one from somewhere else in California. And then that was the one that arrived. And I was just like, I hope my white one still shows up. It was my Switch. I had paid for it. I think they just sent the wrong one. And I think I might end up with 2 of the same color. But I just didn't want to go into the whole thing and try and explain it. I just wanted to be like, oh, it's here early. Let's open it. And then all the comments were like, would get sent someone else's Switch opens it. I'm like, maybe I should have clarified a bit more.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, people can wonder about it however they want, but I mean, that's obviously why they got to watch the Wood and Erek show for the clarity.
For sure.
I mean, for the true behind the scenes information.
And it's really serendipitous that you were able to acquire it this way, because if you had been sent one by Nintendo, would you have been able to make a video about it yet? So why is that?
Well, there's 2 things. There's 2 things with that. One, Nintendo never sends anything out early anyway. They never send things out early because they get leaked, and Nintendo hates that. So you always get it like on the day. And if you do happen to get it early, and they've done it for some people with some things, there's usually a very heavy embargo, because just in case they send it to someone who, even if they trust them, they decide 2 days early, if that's when they're allowed to post, they're like, look, I don't think this thing is worth it. Then that's 2 days out from launch and it might hurt their sales. So there's heavy embargo. So the funny thing is, if I was still working with Nintendo and they had sent me the OLED, I wouldn't be able to talk about it yet. I'd have to wait. But because one came early and I'm not working with them anymore, I could do whatever I wanted. I could make a video. I could stream on Twitch for 3 hours. It kind of sucks for the people that might have one that are having to wait, seeing everyone else post theirs. But I mean, that's just the name of the game sometimes.
Well, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, people sign non-disclosure agreements as such. So, I mean, whatever. I think it's more to your benefit that you're not working with Nintendo, at least in this regard. Yeah. I mean, I've totally bought into the hype. I haven't really wanted a new OLED Switch, but I've seen the videos on it. I've seen how crisp the screens are. I love a good OLED screen. Like at least my phone's OLED. The PlayStation Vita was OLED. It's just a much more better viewing experience. So I've totally bought into the hype. So I would love to get one at some stage. Yeah, maybe not just yet, but eventually. So I'm definitely it's exciting to see you get it though, and seeing your spin and all that. I definitely have bought into the hype more so than anything else.
I do really like it. There is a big difference. There honestly is a huge difference. I've been playing games on it, and it's night and day, and I was very blown away by it. And
is there any difference for someone who plays with a controller on the TV or anything like that? I know that the dock is different, but okay.
It's purely an upgrade to the handheld experience, which is why, and we can talk about this very quickly, but it's why the 4K rumors are still flying around and so vivid, because there are many people who not only see value in a 4K Switch, but don't see an upgrade in this one because they play docks. Yeah. So clearly there is still a whole half of the audience there that Nintendo could capitalize on. Because I think I've seen multiple polls of large outlets doing, do you play handheld or docked? And it's literally split. It's very half-half. So
that makes a lot of sense.
If half the players get something out of this, it still leaves half of the base. But something I wanted to bring up and that I find interesting is Bloomberg recently did an article saying that like 10 developers have a 4K development unit. And then Nintendo almost immediately shut that
You're
down.
Lying.
But something I find interesting that no one's really mentioning, I don't think, is that the Bloomberg's article focused on a 4K development unit. Nintendo shut down specifically a 4K development unit. And even the outlets have said, and every time you read any of it, it's always very specific. We do not have a 4K development unit. Why? Since when did we get so hung up on 4K for the Pro? Because 4K is something that we have talked about. Like, it would be cool. It's possible they could do artificial upscaling to 4K. They could make that happen. But I think everyone, if we take a step back, we all agreed at some point and do agree that 4K is unlikely for a Switch Pro. That would more than likely just be an internal boost, something that could run games a bit better. Maybe you'd look at more solid 1080, 60 FPSs over a 4K. So all the wording out there, and this is my conspiracy theory brain, all the wording always mentions, there is no 4K. Yeah, I get that, but that doesn't mean that those 10 developers don't have something. And I'd be surprised if Bloomberg was out here completely lying and fabricating this. I think there is, and there will be, something out there that is better than the Switch, that is the Switch that people have in their hands and are developing for.
I agree.
Everyone's getting so hung up on the words 4K. So yeah, 4K isn't happening, but they probably still have something.
I feel like, and this is kind of a pet theory that, and I think this is probably something a lot of people have already kind of pieced together as well regarding the Switch Pro being like the powerful console. Nintendo made this OLED model, I think, as a sort of quick pivot.
Yeah.
When they couldn't make the 4K, or not the 4K, but the Pro or whatever it's going to be. When they couldn't do that because of difficulty acquiring new chips.
Exactly.
They said, instead of trying to get new chips, we'll just, because the screens shouldn't be too much more difficult to get than they were before. It's just the chips, the processors, the GPUs, the components. But they've already bought all of those internal components in advance. They've got advance orders on all of these things that they were using to make the normal Switch, right? So instead, you can make this upgraded unit, this OLED unit, like what you were just saying, without having to get new chips, without having to fabricate all new stuff. Like there's maybe a new shell or something. But otherwise, yeah, it's the same thing under the hood.
I agree. I've said this already, but I believe that the OLED was supposed to be the Pro. And I think, again, because of COVID and because of the chip shortage, I think
Yeah.
the OLED ended up becoming the OLED and was released out of necessity because Nintendo knew that any kind of Pro OLED, if they were to go with the Pro angle, whatever that is minimum a year from now.
Yeah.
So they wanted to get something out now that could compete with, we're a year into PlayStation 5 and Xbox One. They needed a refresh. So, yeah, I agree.
The Pro LED. I'm definitely, this is the thing is like, as with any tech, for example, like, I bought the iPhone 12 mini. I've been wanting a smaller phone form factor for many years. Like I love the form factor of the iPhone 5. It's just comfortable in the hands. This is comparable in size to that. Like if, the original iPhone SE was a little bit more souped up. It was essentially a 6S and a 5S body. So this is, similar deal. So it's like, do I get the first one? Which is what I got last year because I really wanted to have a smaller phone. Or do I wait, for example, for a more high-end machine 12 months from now with similar specs, like similar screen, but just it can upscale, do 60 FPS and stuff. For example, there's really no reason if you play docked to get the OLED.
Yeah.
It's purely, I would buy it purely just as a handheld machine.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really appeal to me. But then again, it's not going to stop me from, being hyped and wanting it because, a new shiny thing. You know what I mean? It's that Apple mentality, as Amber says, that I have. I don't have it anymore. But like anytime Apple comes out with a new iPhone, it's like, oh, I want that. I need it. There's something baked into my mind that's made me very materialistic over the years. It's a bad habit, and I've tried to break it, but it's back again with the with the OLED.
It's a good upgrade, though. To be fair.
Oh yeah, well, this looks way more crisp as far as from what I've seen.
To put it in a comparison with something, and I did talk about this in my video I made, but I cut it out because I was rambling. So I'll say it now again. My phone broke when my switches broke, right? I cracked the screen. By the way, that's a minor annoyance because I went to try and get the screen fixed on my S9 Galaxy Plus, and they were like, that's going to be $50 to $100. The trade-in, like pre-owned value is $50 to $100. I can't sell it for more than that. So I'm like, do I sell this $50 to $100 or do I spend what it's worth fixing it? And then I was looking at new phones and I'm like, you can't buy older models that are newer. You can't buy the 20 or the 19 or whatever it is they had new. You have to buy them pre-owned at this point, which means someone's been sat on the toilet with their deep heat getting poop all over the screen. And I'm like, I don't want someone else's poop phone. So my choices are literally, I spend $100 fixing this old disheveled phone that isn't worth it, or I just go and buy the latest and greatest. So I decided to go and buy the new latest and greatest because I haven't got a new phone in a couple of years. And my comparison I made in the video that I cut out was my 9 looked fine to my eyes. I didn't have any issue with it. I never really even thought about it. But as soon as I turned on the 21 Plus and like that screen came on and it was so much nicer, clearer, cleaner, bigger. And then they had this like moving wallpaper and I could see every single little pixel and the colors were popping. It all of a sudden my phone was like 10 times nicer. And I was like, holy crap. That was the exact, if you've experienced upgrading a phone like that and you've experienced that and you're trying to figure out what the jump to OLED on the Switch is like, it's the same thing. As soon as I turned on the OLED, I was like, holy crap.
The difference with like your S9, so the S9 still would have ran an OLED screen. Samsung's have been using OLED screens from, I think, the S6 Plus or the S6 onwards. The difference is the S21 Plus is also using an OLED as well as 120 hertz like refresh rate. So everything, like when you swipe the screens, it's like so insanely fast. Everything looks like it's moving in like incredibly real time. It's like how you would want a handheld experience. So like, getting a new phone like the S21 or whatever, the Ultra or Plus, I don't know, but so it's all the same to me. With quite a fast refresh rate, beautiful like edge to edge screen. That's the best way to do it.
Is there a difference in the refresh rate between the LCD that the Switch had to this one? Or is that pretty much going to be the same?
It's hard to say. Put it this way, if there's going to be no extra internal upgrades, then no. If there is a Pro model later down the line, it probably will have a higher refresh rate on the screen. So like if it's constant 60 FPS, then yeah. So it's just small little quality of life upgrades that you get, for example, in like a new Samsung phone. That's like, wow, I really feel like I've got a new thing because it looks faster. That's that's the most plain English way of saying it.
I guess at this point also it's safe to say that the US and other regions for the Switch price isn't coming down because Europe had a drop, but I think this close to the OLED, they would have announced that. So I think we're stuck with the price point for our Switch, sadly. But
yeah,
I think the OLED's worth the upgrade if you play handheld for sure. Especially if you go to GameStop and you can get it traded in for like $200, because sometimes they do that, like crazy trade-ins. Especially if you're trading for a newer model or something, they'll give you a huge boost in credit. So if you can get away like $100 extra to get this upgrade and you trade in what you have, I think it's worth it. But that really comes down to you.
I'll make one last quick point here before we move on, because I've got some really cool things that I want to mention that might be really cool for the podcast audience. OLED Switch here is $539 Australian. The original model of the Switch is $469, so roughly a $70 difference. However, you can get the new OLED Switch for $299 when you trade your Switch plus 2 Switch games. So, I mean, if you have a robust library of games,
but how much?
For $299.
If you trade your Switch in 2 games, that's not a great deal. You're losing your Switch and you're paying $300 and 2 games.
Yep.
I don't know about that. I think the American one's going to be a lot better. I'm going to have a look at mine.
No, I mean it's not super great. Otherwise, it's $369 when you trade your Switch Lite and 2 games. So, I mean, considering that, I can still probably sell my Switch secondhand for $350 maybe.
So
it's in good shape. If
you were to trade, if you were a Pro member and you trade your Switch in towards the OLED, you would get. This is right? No, this is showing me the trade value for the console. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Trade in Switch OLED, Nintendo Switch OLED. Switch OLED is $150 at GameStop. Wait, what? That has to be like a glitch in the Matrix. Does someone in chat know? I don't want to derail this, but now I want to know.
That's all right.
We'll cut this out.
Yeah, it'll be fine. You know what I do like?
Okay. Sorry, I've got it. The trade-in for the red and blue Joy. So the normal Switch is $220 if you're a Pro member. You'll get $220. And now I don't know if that's like you'll get bonus towards anything because sometimes they do that. But $220 towards the OLED, that leaves you with $130. You'd have to pay only $130. I say only, but I'm comparing it to your $300, and that's before 2 games. And if you trade in a couple of good games, not that you'd want to lose any of your best ones because you're going to want to play them on the OLED, but games like Breath of the Wild still have great trade-in value. I'm going to Google that really quickly. Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it.
$27. I mean, you get $30 still for Breath of the Wild.
That's pretty good for trade-in value. I mean, I wouldn't be able to trade my Switch in or sell it or anything because like Amber bought it for me as a surprise just shortly after launch with Breath of the Wild. So so it's sentimental, you know what I mean? So there's no way I would ever do it. But I like just looking at the trade-in value here, it on first glance it looks good, but I
would say the Australian isn't the go. You maybe sell your Switch independently somewhere on if you're gonna do that. On Gumtree. That's been a long time since I thought about Gumtree. Which is Australia's Craigslist.
Yes,
and then if you're in America though, I think it is worth it. I mean, $220 for your old crusty Switch you've been playing on for like the last 4 years. Not bad. Really not
just
bad.
Don't hit the battery with some tweezers before you take it in.
You know. Hey, no.
Hey, I've got something that I want to bring up here because we're mentioning different countries, and right now because we're live on Twitch, half the episode is OLED Switch, which we've just talked about, and then there's another thing that I mentioned to you, which was we're big in Japan.
Yeah, I have no idea what you meant by that. I was like, what should I put in the second half of the title? You were like, we're big in Japan. I was like, we are.
So I wanted to break down the stats. So we finally got control of like the RSS feed and the podcast.
Yeah, that's been a behind the scenes nightmare.
Yes.
By the way, we apologize to our audio listeners for the episodes going up so late. We had no control over it. Now we do. Finally.
So quite literally, once the show is finished, I can edit this audio and upload it. So I think within
You'll beat
maybe
me.
12 hours, it'll be uploaded straight away. So I don't want to keep people waiting as long as I had in the past. So now that I have access to our podcast insight information, just while we were sitting on the prep call, I was like, okay, I'll make sure that I can see how this works. So that way, post show, I can just upload the thing.
So interested.
There's stats.
Yeah.
So over the last, from September 5th, 2021 to October 4th, 2021, which October 4th for me now, obviously I'm in the future. We've had 3,869 downloads for the selected period. So the most recent episode,
we're getting more audio listeners by 4. Sorry, audio listeners by 4 than we're getting video watches on YouTube.
100%, which that's going up as well. Each video independently is trending over 1,000 views, so which is great. So
thank you, everyone. We finally feel like the podcast is growing. I think this new refreshed format has worked.
Dude, I love it. And honestly, like aside from looking at an active chat over here, it just sounds like we're catching up, which is what I really enjoy. So the last episode had 643 downloads. So downloads could either mean Spotify streams or people downloading it on iTunes or wherever else, Stitcher, whatever podcast app you use, it's going to be on there. So 614 with Bob Wolf. So this is just in a 30-day period. So people are still even going back and listening to our first episode.
That's awesome.
The numbers aren't as big, but I think it's really cool. So if I look at last 12 months, we've had 6,000 total downloads. So that means in the last 30 days, we've doubled essentially our listening stats.
Nice.
Which is pretty significant.
Yeah, that is. It's growing.
With the most popular episode being the break-in scare episode.
Oh, yeah.
So we need more break-ins is what you're saying.
So thank God I had a personal crisis.
Thank God. I'm so happy.
800 views. So one thing that I wanted to bring up was our geolocation stats. Now, how do I find that again? Hang on, bear with me while I figure this out on the fly because I don't quite know how to use this site. But just off the top of my head, there was countries listed showing where we're most listened to.
I'm so ready to hear the Japan. I just want to know.
So 53% comes from the US, 7% comes from Canada.
Okay, you'd expect that.
0.76 from Mexico, 7.21% is from Australia.
Oh, hi, Australia.
0.29% from South Africa.
Are you saving Japan till last?
Yeah.
Okay.
0.47 from Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so we're at
10% from the UK.
We're at 75.4% already.
0.85 from Ireland, Norway, Sweden, Germany.
Those are all countries.
Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all countries. Thailand, we're listened to in Thailand.
Hi, Thailand.
0.27%.
Wait, how many?
0.27%.
0.27. What is that? If there's is it 6,000 is the total number? Did you say?
Yeah.
So what's 0.27 of 6,000?
Probably 3 people.
So to the 3 listeners in Thailand, fill out the valued viewer form. We'd love to get you on to a Thailand episode special.
4.2% in New Zealand. And lastly, this is why I say we're big in Japan. 0.39% in Japan.
Why did you select Japan specifically when it's one of the lowest numbers?
Because people are listening to us in Japan.
You just think cool. Japan is cool. I find Thailand way more interesting.
Hey. Dude, I love Japan. I am an otaku from way back.
I don't think 6 people is big in Japan.
Oh, that's a lot. That's
how many people are in Japan?
More than 6.
More than 6.
A few.
You know what's funny though? Out of those 6, I 100% know who one of them is.
Do you really?
Yeah. When I was in Japan, I got recognized in the middle of Shibuya. It's in my vlog. He's an American that's living abroad. He married someone over there, and
nice.
I got recognized in Shibuya, Tokyo.
Dude, that's cool.
And he was the nicest guy as well. I got his phone number. I'll message him and ask him if he's listening to the podcast. Shibuya. But yeah, okay, 6 people. Well,
man,
huge.
I thought that was really cool.
It is. I mean, what I find cool more than anything is hearing all the places we're hearing people from. I'm not really like focusing in on the 6 Japan, but let's go to Japan together when the borders open. We'll do a meet and greet and we'll go to McDonald's and we'll rent one table at McDonald's for our 6 listeners.
Dude, I'm telling you, I would spend so much money on a flight to go to Japan again, as well as with you, as well as to go interact with our 6 listeners in McDonald's in Tokyo. I'm telling you, that would be a highlight of my life.
I've said it before, but my 3 Japan vlogs are my favorite 3 videos on my channel, and I would love to film another trio and do like a Star Wars saga. We'll call those first ones episode 4, 5, and 6. I'd love to go and film 1, 2, and 3. And while we're there, we could do a Japan abroad episode of the podcast.
That would be incredible.
A New Hope.
I'm going to. I'm crashing this, by the way.
Oh,
honestly,
were you going to wear a mask, or are we going to see you in person?
Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
Well, that's exciting.
I'm excited. And by the way, I just want to quickly comment on that. There's so many people. Now that we've had the producer on screen, we were going to have the producer on screen today, but there just wasn't enough time, and we're kind of strapped for time today anyway.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who have been making comments about the producer's camera appearance and whatever. Keep guessing, because none of your guesses are correct so far. Although I think it is exciting to finally have the visual aspect to the producer, which is very cool. Obviously, but the producer is an integral part of the show and what we do. So looking forward for that inevitable and eventual producer review.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
I agree. I've got to see it. It's going to be tremendous. I'm also just wanted to say before we move on, big thank you to everyone that is listening to the audio, obviously, especially if you're one of those 6 in Japan. But also the video and who's watching over on YouTube. I appreciate that, because that's all me doing the thumbnails and everything. Eric doesn't have to do thumbnails. Must be nice.
Nope.
And we're getting comments over there too. We got like 30 odd comments on the last episode and the one before it, which is great. I mean, it's engagement and it's all building up. I mean, 125 likes on the last episode of the podcast too. So, I mean, for me, obviously being me and with my platform, I have my expectations for my channel and everything. But the podcast has really been struggling, and we've hit a groove, as we said, and you guys are really helping by listening and watching those versions and liking the videos and commenting on them. And the fact that the engagement is up tells us again that we're creating content now that's easier to engage with. And I think that's definitely the right way to go about it. And
100%.
Also, I want to say we're talking about being worried about the podcast a lot less now, because we're not nearly as worried about it. And I'm actually getting excited to do it every week again, which is good. Because there was a while there we were very worried, and we talked a lot on and off air, both in the pre and post show when we weren't recording the episode, but we were still live, about our fears and our concerns and where we might stop if it doesn't pick up. And we weren't doing that to kind of be sympathetic in any way. We just wanted to let people know that, I mean, this has to grow if we're going to keep doing it, and it's growing. And I'm really excited about that. And one thing I always think about when I go live, and it gives me such self-satisfaction, is when we first started the podcast this time, and we were on episode 1 or 2, I shared that one of the episodes was uploaded on Twitter, or we were going live or something. Yeah. And the only comment then, because people weren't interested yet, the only comment was one guy who immediately wrote, "Oh, wow, great. Something else Wood will give up on in 2 weeks." And it upset me. It honestly really upset me, obviously, because it's still living rent-free in my head now, like 24 episodes later. But we're on episode 24, and every single time I go live, I'm like, another one to prove he's wrong. And we're still going. I mean, 24 times, 1 week each. That's 24 weeks. How many months is that?
We've been doing it since the first episode on our YouTube channel is early March. So, but we've been talking about this podcast for almost a year at this point, like redoing it.
Yeah.
We did the podcast years and years ago, but even then, like a show with you and I, just you and I, has been in the works for like 6 years plus, man. Like, we've been wanting to do it forever.
Yeah, let's not give this a 6-year date though, because then it looks like it's taken us 6 years to get to 6 listeners in Japan, which isn't exactly where I want to be. It's been like 3 or 4 months we've been, or more, we've been here. I really don't know at this point. 4 episodes a week, 4, 8, 12, 16. that's 4 months alone. Have we been doing this like 8 months now?
Close to it, yeah.
Oh my God.
Thereabouts.
Relatively consistently, yeah.
So much for 2 weeks and Wood will give up. Screw that guy. I hope your Twitter is deleted, and I hope you have a tremendously bad weekend.
Bye-bye.
Got him.
Bye-bye. All right. We're near the tail end here, so we've got to hurry up and take these calls because I have to dip in like 30 minutes. So let's get that number on the screen, producer. If you have a podcast topic or conversation that you want us to talk about, now, you can sit back and listen to us talk if you want, but we would much prefer you call in with a topic you want to talk with us about, and we will talk with you about that topic until we get bored of said topic, and then we'll try and take another call.
Yes. Producer, if you want to play the randomly generated song as well, just to kind of tee up the mood.
Oh, yeah, get us in the mood.
Yeah.
The number is on the screen now, though, so if you want to start calling in, the producer, you'll get thrown into a waiting room. The producer will bring you into the call.
Oh, yeah. Randomly generated, baby. Randomly generated, baby. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that one never gets old.
Oh my God, I love it. I love that so much.
Made it myself.
There's a great comment here, and I want to pull this out. It says, Erek has the classic radio voice I remember as a kid. Well, thank you very much. That's a very kind compliment. I've always wanted to be on radio, so this is a good opportunity for me to.
That was other than our camaraderie, which I really appreciated, that was the reason why I wanted to do a podcast with you and why I even thought about it in the first place. I was like, Erek and I are friends. What content can we create? You have a voice for radio. If I was ever going to do a podcast, why wouldn't it be with Mr. Podcast himself?
Oh, yeah, I know. I tell you what, I've been doing podcasts for many, many years. I started one with myself, and then I joined some other retro gaming podcasts and stuff, and then I worked my way up, and then I met you, and then of course, like, doing a show with Wood, or even a live show now, which is what we're doing, which I think is the pinnacle of that. It's been incredibly satisfying, and I truly enjoy it. And as you said before, I look forward to it every single week. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't dread it anymore.
Not me either.
You know what I mean? We're putting it's more casual, and there's less work into it. But I still think it's a very high quality.
The interesting thing is
show.
There's technically less work because we're not doing as many jingles or creating as many fun bits, and we would get on the call an hour earlier to do that. But the show length has gone up from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. So we've kind of replaced the hurry of the pre-show making jingles to just doing a longer show. So it's honestly the same amount of time, but we're both a lot less stressed, and we're both kind of just like chilling and vibing.
I'm just chilling. I remember after the first 2 episodes or something like that, we had a off-air Zoom call where it's like, we need to figure this out. Like
episode 2 wasn't good, and that
the panic button straight away.
That goes into Willy Wonka in chat just said you're getting better at it, and it will continue to get better. That's a great observation, and I think that's why the show's doing better, because we're getting better at it. And if you watched that second episode, it was,
oh my God, it's so bad.
we did the reaction, the episode 20, we reacted to all the older episodes. And that episode 2, we were dying at how awkward the start was. You didn't even know we went live, and if you did, you weren't ready.
I didn't know, but I faked it. But whatever. Producer, do we have somebody teed up on the line here?
No, not yet.
No one's calling in. What are you? There's 500 of you watching. No one's gonna buzz in. The number is on the screen. Don't leave us hanging like this.
09514927.
You're gonna make us. We've been gushing about all our abroad listeners and how the show's growing and how much better it's being. Don't let this be the moment where we get that Curb Your Enthusiasm music when we get no one calling in to the show.
I think it's funny, and I think it's fitting. But I will say, like, just in general, we've gotten better at conversation and filling time. Obviously, we're filling time waiting for calls right now. But there's so much stuff that we can pull from, just from past episodes that we've done. Like, for example, episode 2. My God, that was a total fluke. It was awful.
If you're worried about calling in because you're like, I don't really have a topic, I don't know what to say. All right, let's revert it. We'll give the topic and we'll talk.
We'll give a topic.
If you don't have one, we'll give the topic and we'll just talk. Where I only have 23 more minutes before I have to go and do something else, which is why we're early. So Million Clover says I might call. Call now.
I think not to dox anybody, but I think Million Clover is from New Zealand. I will say I've become well acquainted with our audience. I know some of our audience members' real names, purely because they backed my Kickstarter, and you know what I'm saying. But I've gotten to know a lot of great people thanks to this show. It's a nice little community, and it's definitely brought a lot of people together.
Yeah, I've built quite the audience here on Twitch. Quite the audience of scaredy cats who don't want to call in, but still very nice
Look,
people.
if you want to call in and say, tell us if you ever put icy hot on your, you know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Oh, no. Okay.
Hey. The only thing I worry about that is them not being able to control their words as much as we can with our little buzzers and beepers over here.
Yeah, I know. But hey, if you are going to call in, man, we're really hyping this up now. Make sure you mute your streams. Make sure you keep it PG and family friendly. We are a family friendly stream, even though sometimes we kind of teeter on the edge just a tad.
You teeter on the edge way too much.
Yeah, I know I do. But to be fair, I'm actually not even saying anything under my swear, like under the swear button. Like
I was going to say, I can't tell if you actually are or not, because sometimes those swears come in really short. I'm like, did you rush through that swear?
I fake it.
Every time.
It's for I fake it for
at some point, so many years in, you gotta.
What do you gotta do?
You gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, when you get to the third or fourth load of washing, eventually you do have to start faking things.
Yeah, I know.
Are we not getting any calls? Is producer, are you getting anything? Are you vetting calls right now? I think he's vetting calls. Thank God.
Okay.
Thank God.
I think it would be funny if we hyped up, okay, we're going to take calls, and then we never get calls.
I think it's funnier that it's on the back of talking about the show growing and all the thousands of people listening. We used to get like endless calls with 100 people watching. I guess everyone was just too nervous to call in with a topic.
I don't know. Maybe it's maybe we're all talked out now after talking about. All
right, I've got one here lined up for you guys.
Thank God.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Hello.
Hi. So I have a silly question for you guys.
Can I get you?
Okay.
Who is this?
Who are you, and where are you calling from?
My name's Elizabeth, and I'm calling from Kentucky.
Hi, Kentucky.
Oh, okay. Hello.
I like your chicken.
Hi. Well, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
All right. So my question is, who do you think would win in a fight, Tom Nook or Mario?
Great question.
Mario. Mario has been in Smash since 64. He's had training. He's a brawler. He's a fighter. He's got moves. I mean, what's Tom Nook got?
He's got money.
He's got money.
He can hire a hitman.
He can pay off the other fighters.
Yes, he could.
He could also bring Elizabeth and Villager he could pay them off. They're in Smash now.
Okay, I have a great answer for you. Mario, he may have the physical aspect, but Tom Nook can financially cripple you. He will ruin you with a credit. His final smash would be a credit score.
And then Mario ends up on Squid Game trying to fight for his life to make his money back. What's your answer, Elizabeth?
Probably Tom Nook. He's a little too smart for me.
Too what? Smart?
Yeah, he's too smart. I feel like he would find some way to defeat Mario.
You think he's like Batman, where he'll outplay with his wits and his cunning?
I'm Tom Nook.
Tell me what Peach is.
That'll be so funny.
Tell me. That's my Batman.
I like it.
Perfect.
Okay. I hope we've answered your question. Did you have another one?
No, that's about it.
All right. Thank you so much, Kentucky.
Thank you so much. Great to talk to you.
Enjoy those mashed potatoes.
Right, have a nice day.
You too.
Yep.
Oh, yep.
Enjoy have a nice biscuits.
Have a nice biscuits.
Back to you guys.
That was great. I do think the answer is definitely Mario, though.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I did like your take on it.
There we go. Just got back to you guys here.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a few people lined up.
Oh,
now,
thank God.
Oh, thank God.
The lines are all tied up all of a sudden.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it did kind of join in all at once. So,
Hey, producer, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Stop apologizing, man. You're doing great.
Thank you. All right, here we go. I'll throw you in here. Hey, welcome.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, Who are you? Where you from?
This is Nick from Georgia.
Hi,
Oh,
Georgia.
Georgia.
I like your peaches. Nice peaches over there. In
Nice
Georgia.
peaches, man.
Yeah, we got some of those.
I've been to Georgia once. I went to Stone Mountain and camped in a camper van and watched a laser display in the sky. You ever done that?
Oh yeah, no, I used to go to Stone Mountain all the time as a kid.
It was good. It was
like a
beautiful.
regular annual thing.
There was like a train that went around the mountain. You done that?
I haven't been in the train, but we used to always take coins and leave them on the track for them to run over and smush them.
I've had peach tea. You had that?
No, I'm not a big tea person, and I mean I like peaches, but I don't have them very regularly. So.
Not a peach fan. All right.
Hey, that's all right.
What's your topic?
Oh well, actually, since y'all were talking about the OLED, I have actually 2 on order because I wanted similar. I wanted like the white, but then I couldn't find it at first.
Right.
So I got a red and blue.
Mm-hmm.
The one from Walmart, one from Target, and I think they're both saying that at earliest they'll arrive on Monday. So
Nice.
It's I mean definitely better than having to wait too long. But
Monday is in
I was kind of surprised that
tomorrow.
No, like the Monday after.
Oh, right.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
I
have
don't-
thought they would have lined up the shipping a little better so they would actually get here on Friday. But
That's my
Yeah,
big
you would think.
issue with ordering consoles and games through like Target and Walmart and all of that, because they almost always never deliver on time, which is why I went through a mom and pop store for the second one, which is how I got lucky and it got sent out early, and why I didn't want to say where it was from to get anyone in trouble. And why my first one was ordered at GameStop for me to go and pick up first thing at 9 a.m. I do not ever want to wait for mail, because yeah, Walmart and Target are always late.
yeah, I mean, I just went where I could find it because day of, I thought all those things were just disappearing. So
Yeah.
pretty much all I could do.
I think it's going to be hard to find, so you'll have 2.
There you go. I
Yeah,
want the white
no,
one
definitely.
specifically.
I think my friend might buy it. So
Yeah, I think I might give my other one to Kim.
Good idea.
Yeah. I'm just a good husband,
Yeah.
Yeah, I do what I can.
right.
Thanks for calling in. We
Yeah, I would.
appreciate you.
Okay, yeah.
You can
Thank you
continue,
so much.
You can continue that.
I mean,
sentence.
I mean,
I
we
did
got-
not mean to cut you off.
We got no plans,
Oh.
so by all means.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I would try to give it to my fiance, but she's already got her Switch, and she's like, she knows it wouldn't be worth it for us or for her to.
Oh, fair enough.
When
Go
I
ahead
when I
and
offered
make
it
the
to
cash
Kim,
out.
she was like, "No, I've got mine," and I was like, "No, this one's a lot better." She's like, "Yeah, but mine's the Pokemon one," and I was like, "Yeah, that's true, but." So
But the screen,
I don't know how much she's interested in it, but I don't know.
babe, you don't understand. The pixel density is just so much
You
greater
don't get
than
it.
that.
The color, the vibrance.
Well, and she can use her Joy-Cons on the new one, so
Exactly.
True.
But with the
Make it
back of the
different.
Pokemon one has little Pikachus and Eevees on it, so like it's kind of cute.
well, I'm sure you could fix that for her.
I
Oh wait,
couldn't,
no, the whole back.
because it's and it's also the OLED's
Yeah.
bigger. It's a millimeter bigger, so I doubt the back plate will fit.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
glue it on, whatever,
Yeah, it'd be a tremendous hassle. All right.
That would be.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate you.
Great talking to you.
All right, thanks for talking. Yeah.
Bye-bye. All right, we can take a couple more.
All right, we've got one that's. I want to go ahead and put this one forward because they're calling from out of country, so I'll go ahead and bring them in here.
Oh, bring them in.
Great.
They're probably paying an arm and a leg just to sit in the waiting room.
There you are. Welcome.
Welcome.
Who are you and
welcome.
where are you calling from?
Hello,
Let me guess, UK?
my name's Peter. I'm calling from Belgium.
Oh, Belgium.
Oh.
Hello, Belgium. I love your chocolate.
International.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem.
How long have you been watching?
I just had well, I've been watching your videos for quite a while on YouTube, but this is my first time watching the podcast.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you
nice.
so much. Hey, Eric,
I've also watched a couple of streams.
Eric, can you pull up the statistics again? I want to see how many people are in Belgium.
I can't find it.
Oh,
so
really?
it must.
It's
the
off
percentage
the
must be
charts.
so low. It's so high. There's so many listeners
You
there.
might be our only Belgium fan. Do you feel special?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
I think you're special. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
What are you calling in for?
Well, I'm going in for Metroid because, Metroid Dread is releasing this Friday, and I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah.
But my thoughts were on Metroid Prime 4. And what do you think? Do you guys think we'll see any of it next year? Or probably not.
Next year, I think so. I think next year we'll end up getting a cinematic trailer at some point to tease us with whatever story they've decided to go with. I do think development's been a train wreck, and I don't know how much is done right now, if any. But I think unless they plan on scrapping the idea, which I highly doubt it, especially because I think Dread's going to sell very well, I think we'll definitely get a trailer. I think the reason why we haven't already is because it got to the point where Dread was coming out, and they're really honing and focusing on that Metroid, and to showcase another one at any point in the last few months would really take the wind out of the sails. People might say, oh, I'll wait for that one. So I think right now we've got Dread, which I'm very excited for, and they've pushed really hard, and I hope it sells really well. And then next year we'll get a look at 4, and then I expect it'll be one of the last releases we'll get on the Switch before the next thing releases, whether it's Switch 2 or something like that.
I saw an article not too long ago, and I've just pulled it up here, and I guess you can do the math as to how long it's been since. So there was an article published April 4th. Metroid Prime 4 goes 800 days without any official updates. So that's back in April. So think of how long that's been. And so, I mean, add the numbers there. I don't know. I'm not a math
does that
major.
Mean it's been 800 days since that announcement where they came out and said they were handing it over to...
That logo...
Well, no, because
you mean the Retro Studios announcement? Yeah.
So it's 983 days specifically since an announcement. So almost 1,000 days since anything.
Does that mean that announcement they were handing it over to Retro Studios was 900 days ago already? Isn't that like 3 years?
Yeah.
Has it really been 3 years since that announcement?
I believe so.
I don't know. Oh my god! If that's true, then I'm going to be dead next week because life is moving by way too quick.
Dude, I'm telling you, like mentally, I'm still in 2019. So like, I can't believe that we're almost at 2022.
Really scary,
It's just been moving so fast. I don't know. I personally would like to see something. I think once they get over the hurdle here with Metroid Dread, I think it's going to do really well as well.
I hope so too. I have it pre-downloaded already. I'm very excited for it.
Holy crap. January 25th, 2019 was when that announcement that they were doing it again, starting over. So all of 2019, all of 2020. Yeah, it's
something
almost
like that.
been 3 years since. What the heck? There's no way.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's fair that they don't do anything or they don't show anything until they're truly ready, because Nintendo knows the amount of flack that they're going to get if they tease another logo stinger or something again.
How long until 1,000 days? Because that's a YouTube video right there. I'm calling it. No one take that.
Less than 2 weeks, allegedly.
1,000 days since Metroid Prime 4 or something like that. That's a video.
Do it, and then what you do is you show the podcast where we break down the numbers and promote the show.
Where I realize, All right, Belgium. Thank you so much for calling in. Really nice to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you for your support.
I hope they release the Prime trilogy after Dread. So.
I hope they release it before to get people in the mood. We might get that next year.
Yeah.
No, I mean after Metroid Dread.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Before Prime 4, of course.
But, yeah. All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate
Have a great day.
you.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.
How many callers we got lined up right now?
We've got another international caller from shall I bring him in? We've got
how many more is there?
2.
Okay, yeah, let's cap it there. We'll do the next 2.
Yeah, okay. Only 2 more.
All right, just a moment, and we'll.
What's the bet on Japan?
Oh, it better be.
That would make the title solidified.
Sure.
There you are.
Hello.
Hi, Japan.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm from Stockholm, Sweden.
Oh,
We love
awesome.
that. We love
Thank
that.
you.
I love the
We-
Swedes.
We love your chocolate.
I love your chocolate.
From
Chocolate.
Stockholm, Sweden, you are one of 1.77% of our listening demographic. So thank you so much for your support.
That's a big chunk, actually. That's at least 10 people. If not more.
I mean, that's lots, really.
Are we the talk
We
of the
own
town?
like 10 million here, so
Yours like 10 million of you there? That's a lot of people.
yeah, I think so.
All right, Sweden. What was your name, sorry?
Love. It's spelled love, but it's pronounced Love.
You know what's funny, actually? I am
Luve.
a big fan of the H3 podcast, and there's a guy called Love on there, too. Swedish
Oh.
person. Probably not as funny as I thought in my head, but you kind of sound like him, too. So for a second, I was like, is this that Love? Is Love a common name over there?
Yeah, pretty common.
Hmm.
I also heard that in Australia, like I heard it from some Australian in Sweden who said that like love or love is like a slang for like toilet or something
Oh,
in Australia.
The Lou.
the loo, not love. Loo.
The loo.
That's pretty different. It's just loo.
Huh.
I would
Okay,
not.
okay.
I don't love that for you. I don't think it's anywhere near Lou.
I wasn't thinking.
I love the name Love. Honestly, I think it's really cool.
Luve.
Luve.
Luve. Hey,
Luve.
look. Anyway, thank you for
Luve.
calling in. What's your topic for today?
No, like since I live in like Europe, the prices are really different here. So, for example, like Zelda costs like around $600 dollars,
Whoa.
while Smash Bros cost not 660.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
While Smash Bros cost like 70.
Oh.
And I just wonder, is there the same price difference in the US
No, not at all.
with some games? So like,
So are you saying
Huh.
that in Sweden,
Yes.
all games kind of release at different price points?
I don't know, I just noticed that on the eShop,
Oh, on
that
the eShop.
the price
Interesting.
difference was like $10 more.
Is that kind of like a bunch of games do that, or just Smash Brothers?
Yes, Smash Bros. No DLC included.
Weird. I never would have thought of that.
Wait. Let me hold on. Was that only Smash Brothers? They said.
I think it was
I think so.
Smash Bros. And perhaps Zelda as well. And then like Mario Odyssey and Mario Kart was like 60.
Okay, my first thought is maybe with Smash Brothers, maybe in Sweden there was like a different licensing thing because there's so many characters in it. Maybe like
True.
something happened where they had to charge a little more because there was like some agreement with some company that was featured in the game. But like, I really don't know. It's definitely not like that. I mean, $60 is pretty standard for a new game here, unless PlayStation 5, which has now gone up to 70. But Nintendo across the board are going to be 60 unless it's something random or smaller. Like WarioWare was a quicker, cheaper game at 50. It's not like a full Nintendo release. I mean, then you had like Toad Treasure Tracker was like a $40 game. But it's like the smaller the scope of the game, generally the cheaper it'll be. But if it's like a considered a full release, like Smash, Zelda, Mario Odyssey, yeah, that's usually all 60. I don't know why.
Yeah. Same as here. I mean, as you remember, Australian game prices are pretty high. So, like, if you get your new Nintendo first-party titles, they generally are kind of at the $99.95 price point. Some of them can be $79.95, and even now, like the newer PlayStation 5 titles, I think are trending up above $100. I think I last saw one like $129.95 or something like that. So, prices vary. As far as the eShop here, I don't think there's any price difference. That's why it's always a bonus if you're going to buy physically, so that way you at least hold something tangible, obviously in your hand, rather than a digital license that and maybe over time you might lose. So that's interesting. I wonder why that is. I'm going to have to look into that. It's good food for thought.
And it's also interesting because some like physical games, for example, Monkey Ball now, but on Mania, that costs like $35 if you were to buy it physically like new.
But how much is it digitally?
50.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like
That's weird. That's
I'm
really
pretty sure
strange.
there's like a law here that the digital price has to be the same as the physical. But usually that's because the physical costs like 60, the digital has to also be 60 so that physical retailers don't lose sales. Even though it costs less, obviously, to do the digital because they don't have to make the physical, they can't sell it cheaper because then that discourages people to go out and buy the physical, which hurts the businesses selling the physical. So usually the digital has to match the physical. But it's weird that for you, the physical is cheaper, but the digital is more expensive for a brand new game.
Must be a licensing thing or something. I don't know. That's really strange.
Or perhaps the retailers, you can just cut the price to attract new customers to buy games physically instead of digitally.
Maybe, and if they can afford to do that, that's a win-win for you because you actually get the game and it's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean that is really nice because I think they choose to do it on titles they think won't sell as much, like Monkey Ball, because like Smash Bros is 500 if you were to buy it physically. I mean 50. Sure. I say 500 because in Sweden we have SEK, which is like then everything costs 500. But if you were to translate it to dollars, it's 50.
Yeah, it would be like yen, where like if you buy a new title, it's like 500 yen or something like that. So it's comparable. That's a really interesting food for thought point. I'm gonna look into that after the show. I'm so interested into that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm loving the international callers. Thank you. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. It's 2 a.m. here.
Oh,
so I probably need to get to bed.
Well, lucky we went live early today.
Yeah, that's right. Well, hey, maybe we'll do it earlier next time.
I'm sure.
Well, thank you for your call.
I'm sure he would love that.
You can go to bed on time.
Good night, love.
Good night, me. Yep. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this last one in here because I gotta go.
Yeah.
All right. Bringing you on in here. Hey, welcome to this show.
Hello.
To the show.
Who are you and where are you calling from?
Hello. I'm Rodolfo. I'm calling from Brazil.
My God! Whoa!
This is so cool.
I love your football. What do you do over there in Brazil? Soccer, right?
Yeah, I don't play much football, but what I do, I'm graduating in computer science.
Nice,
cool.
Too smart for us.
Oh yeah, big brain.
You got a question for these two dumb bums?
At first, I didn't have a question. I just that's why I didn't call earlier. But then I just wanted to show my support.
Oh,
thank you.
And but now I'm thinking. I actually have a question.
Yeah.
Like I wanna start drawing artistically. And I never did any draw, but I wanted to do digital art. And
okay.
I wonder if you think that color, live, pen stuff, is it viable for someone that wants to start?
On the Switch, you mean?
Yeah, on the Switch.
So Bob Wolf, my brother from another mother, just did a video very recently in the last week or two about one of those drawing apps, and he was using the pen, and he's an artiste himself, and I did not watch the video, so I can't relay the information, but I would highly recommend, if you're interested in that, watching his video, because that's literally what it was all about, and he can probably tell you. He even compared it to his drawing tablet that he has.
Yeah, I saw his video, but I think it was like much more aimed to people that already draw.
Right.
So that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I personally, I couldn't imagine a free Switch app is really gonna get you where you want to be with digital art. I imagine you're probably gonna want an iPad would be a good go-to. That's what Kim bought to do her digital art, and she's making some really cool stuff on that. And if not an iPad, just like a drawing tablet that plugs into your PC. that you could draw on and use all kind of PC apps. I mean, if you have a Switch, buying the pen is like $10 and you can download one of the apps. It's free and you could get started and try it out and see how you feel. But I think you eventually would want to graduate to using something more official. And I'm saying this as a non-artist, but I'm pretty sure that's going to end up being correct information.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. I asked you that because exactly because of Kim, you may have some input on this.
Yeah, I do listen to Kim once in a while, and I did have to buy. I didn't have to, but I bought her an iPad for her birthday a year or two ago for that very reason. Actually, initially, I bought her a drawing tablet. I knew she wanted something to draw with, so I bought her a drawing tablet, and she opened it, and she did that whole thing where it's like, she was excited, but you could tell there was something amiss. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, oh, it's nothing. It's just with this, I can't really do what I need, but I still like it. And then we had to return it, and I bought her an iPad instead, and she's loved the iPad. So
I've got to get some insight here. Producer, are you artistically inclined at all? Would you recommend anything like that?
Yeah, I actually do like to do a bit of dabbling of drawing in here and there. I like my Huion tablet quite a bit actually, which is it's kind of like a Wacom tablet. You know, the screen that you draw on. It's kind of nice. It works like a monitor, so I would recommend that. And it's not a bad way to go. Less expensive than the more expensive Wacom stuff.
And you'd probably want something that would integrate directly into Photoshop as well. So that way you have digital files, they're accessible on the computer, and then you can, color them as however you want. So maybe starting on the Switch, as Wood said, would be a good idea, and then graduate as such. So I think it's a pretty cool talking point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks. Also, how many people from Brazil? Can I start
how many people from Brazil?
Yeah, let me have a look.
Can we do this every time we take a caller? Figure out how many people
I don't pins and maps and stuff for this.
We should. I should have a map behind me.
Get a map behind you, and every time someone calls in from a different country, put a pin in that spot.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that idea. From what I can see, there's no stats from Brazil. They're probably incredibly low. Obviously, we have more people in Japan listening to us than Brazil. But hey, thank you so much for calling, and it was a pleasure speaking to you. Good luck with your art.
No, thank you guys.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So sadly, we only have a couple people in Belgium. Not that big in Belgium. Still huge in Japan with our 6, though. Like,
oh my God!
Saying, off the charts. as long as the charts only go to 5.
It's all relative.
That was an amazing show. I had so much fun. I would sit here talking more, but I do have to go and take care of something that's why we were earlier today. Do you guys have anything you want to end with, though?
No, that's it. I'm just keep listening and keep watching. Rate us on iTunes. Maybe we'll do some iTunes reviews and producer reviews next week.
Yes.
So keep the comments coming. I literally have the notification bell on YouTube, so I know when each episode is uploaded. I always interact as my YouTube channel anyway, just to commenters and stuff. So I like to engage with the audience. So hey, keep it up.
Speaking of engaging with the audience, Steve in chat just pointed out something I was about to say. I'm in Too Many Games next weekend I'm in Philadelphia next weekend for Too Many Games.
Yes, for Too Many Games.
So we don't know. We've talked about pre-recording the show, postponing
It's up in the air.
It's up in the air. We're going to decide. We'll take a poll with our Japanese audience and see what they think.
Yeah.
Since they're really the ones paying our bills right now. And once we figure that out, I'll let you guys know on Twitter. But that
sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, are we cutting to a quick post show, or are we going?
Yeah. If you're listening to the audio, you're watching the YouTube. We're gonna cut to a post show for like 5 minutes before I literally do have to run. But if you're listening to the audio versions, thank you so much. Or the video, thank you so much. You can catch up at woodanderekshow.com. We appreciate you all. Fill out the valued viewer form.
Get some merch.
Leave a voicemail. Get some merch. We've never said that. Get some merch. It's up there at pixelempire.com. And leave a voicemail at the number. And that's it. That's all I have to say. What about YouTube?
That's it. You've said everything. So it's up to the producer to top off the show here.
All right. Well, in that case, fist bumps only.
Thank you for watching and listening. Catch up with The Wood and Erek Show at woodanderek.com, fill out the valued viewer form to be part of the show, and leave the boys a voicemail at 210-951-4927. Bye.